Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the 5 elements of composition that you're going to see throughout photography. They are the rule of thirds, leading lines, leading space, perspective, and symmetry. All of these are guidelines. None of these are hard, fast rules that you have to follow in order to get a great shot. However, the more of these elements you are able to bring together into a single photograph, the stronger it's going to be anytime anyone looks at it, and it will stand the test of time, as they say. So let's go ahead and go through each of these elements of composition and talk about them to better understand what they are and how they might help. So the first one is the rule of thirds. With the rule of thirds, they say that we have grid lines that come in from each side of the photo a third of the way in, and that when we align our focus to one of these third lines, it is more pleasing to the viewer. More importantly, the rule also says that if we put our focal point at one of those intersecting lines, the viewer's eye is more naturally drawn to one of those quadrants in the picture. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this picture right here. With this picture, you can see that we have a bride and a groom on their wedding day, and we already put on those grid lines for us to see how this photo stacks up against this rule. You can see right away that this photo does not have the bride and the groom on that third line, and that is okay. This is not a hard, fast rule. Usually, the rule of thirds is designed to help us balance our photos with the different elements that we're going to have between the foreground, the background, and our focal point. And that's exactly what we did here with this bride and groom. Now let's go take a look at another picture for leading lines. Leading lines, we have another bride and groom here. They're standing outside under a pergola. The leading lines of this help draw the viewer and guide them through the picture. Let's take a look at this other picture for leading space. We have this Camaro here, and you'll notice that there's a fair amount of room in front of the car. Leading space helps the viewer feel just a little bit more comfortable when it comes to knowing where that subject might go. Anytime that the subject is looking directly off the frame, the viewer starts to feel uncomfortable because they cannot see what they're looking at or where they might go if there's a movement sense in the picture. Now let's take a look at this picture for perspective. With perspective, we need to be willing to either get higher or get lower, because anyone can stand straight up and take a picture. But how many are willing to get on the ground for the same shot? Changing our perspective can dramatically enhance or change the way the photo looks. This is partly why aerial photography is becoming so popular, is because we are able to see the same world we've been walking around in a whole new way. Lastly, let's take a look at this picture for symmetry. Symmetry is where we have the exact same thing on both sides of a focal point. In this picture inside of the train car, we have the windows that are evenly spaced. They're the same size, and they run down both sides of the train car. This is symmetry. Something that might make this photo a little more interesting is if we had something at the end of the train car, or a group of people, or a person. Either way, this photo could be more captivating. And also with this same picture, we have leading lines. So if we had symmetry, leading lines, good composition, we would have a pretty strong photo. So these are the elements of composition. They're guidelines again. But the more that you're able to put into a single photo, the stronger it's going to be. Do they have to be exact? Not at all. You just have to pay attention to what you're photographing and be creative enough to capture and guide the viewer to the main focal point of that shot. So with that in mind, here is your photo challenge of the day. I want you to go through your photos you've already taken and see which ones already have one of these elements applied to your picture. If you can't find any, your other challenge is to go out and take some. Try any of those you want, but go out and try to apply one of these elements of composition into your photos and just see how it goes. Because it never hurts to take more than one photo of the same thing to see which one is going to turn out better.